Fine here. Today I'm going to try something I've wanted to try for a while, but for whatever reason hadn't until now. I'm going to see how far I can get in Zelda Link's Awakening without getting the sword. Not using this version. Alright, so how can you do the game Swordless? You start off with a free shield, but can't really get any other items until you get the sword. The right of the village, the right of the beach, and the woods are all blocked off. Well, one idea I had was I could try to steal a shovel from the store, which I could then use to get money to buy bombs, or just steal the bombs too. As you can see though, the store owner's a little more watchful when you first start out. So finally I'm going with plan A, my favorite version of Link's Awakening for the same reason that this might be somewhat doable. It has a glitch that's real easy to pull off and lets you warp from one side of the screen to the other. Just pull up the map at the same time you're gonna move from one screen to the other, and just like that you're on the far side of the next screen, letting you pass by things like, say, this bush. Now that I can get into the woods, I can go ahead and grab this here mushroom, which I can exchange for magic powder, which I can use to clear out these bushes, get the first dungeon key, and save Taran from a terrible fate while I'm at it. There aren't too many sword-needing things in Tail Cave, as thankfully you can use your shield to bonk these fellas into the holes. The main thing here is to get the feather, as the boss is a bit tricky and I'll deal with that later. The next handy thing to get is the power bracelet, which is a bit of a special case for this run. For whatever reason, there's a lot of this particular room in the you're not supposed to be here areas. It looks like a room from level 7, but this just contains a power bracelet for whatever reason. And even better, you can leave and re-enter the room and get the power bracelet level 2. While I was in the area, I also grabbed the key for level 7, as you don't want to end up in level 7 without having the entrance unlocked. You'll just end up stuck in rock when you leave. Speaking of getting stuck, sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation you can't get out of. Thankfully, you can just press AB Start Select to bring up the save and quit screen, and bring you back to the entrance of wherever you entered last. It doesn't work if the entrance is solid rock or something, of course. After warping around a bunch, you can get to the back entrance of level 8 without too much trouble, and from there it's pretty easy to warp yourself to the magic rod. Finally, a nice and easy way to attack. Doesn't work on all enemies and bosses, although it does work on the boss that's just a big ball of fire for some reason. After returning to the village and stocking up on some cash from the trendy game, I bought the shovel and some bombs. Shovel in hand, I can dig up the slime key for level 3. Oh wait, no I can't. Gotta talk to Richard first. Richard, incidentally, is from the game For the Frog, the Bell Tolls, which uses the same engine as this game. Or rather, this game uses the same engine as that game, as it came first. I've played through it, and it's pretty fun. It's been fan-translated, so give it a shot sometime. Anyway, after talking to Richard, you can now dig up the key, although it'll look like one of his golden leaves. Tackling level 3's a lot easier now that I have the magic rod for most enemies, and bombs for fire-resistant enemies, like Stalfos. Nabbed the boots, and some cash, and skipped over the boss entirely, as it very much requires the sword. Pretty easy skip for this one. Now that I have the boots, I can get the Ocarina. The fire rod doesn't work on these penguins, and do not touch them. They are very, very poisonous penguins. Unfortunately, Marin's not up for teaching me any Ocarina songs at the moment. He's also on the beach. Sure. Uh-oh. Marin causes the music to change. The sword's still on the beach, though, and going into a building fixes it back to the delightful sword-searching music. At this point, I could have gone ahead and made Marin wake up the walrus, but instead I just warped over to grab the key, and carried on to level 4, with Marin still following behind, a decision I might regret later. Level 4 goes fine without any real problems. Here's a neat skip. Yep. The anglerfish can be hit with the magic rod, and it's just as easy as ever. I grab my second instrument, the harp. Then I leave, and... uh-oh. Marin ghost. Well, anyway, I grab Manbo's Mambo. It's a useful song to get in case you get very, very stuck. Then in a move I probably should have done before level 4, I wake the walrus. And... yeah, she's not here. Not here either. Oh well. Moving on, I get the magnifying glass. There were no real problems getting any of the trading sequence items. Trading my shovel for the weirdly powerful in this game boomerang, I now have another primary weapon. Not super useful at this point, but it's nice. I play the trendy game a few more times to get the bow. Here's a handy trick. If you want to buy something, save and quit while the rupees are counting down. The rupees will stop at whatever they were at when you saved and quit. So if you do it fast enough, you can get the bow for 100 or so rupees. As long as you have 980 rupees, anyway. Going to level 5, there's a pretty big problem here. You need a sword to slash the crystals in there, and there aren't really options as far as screen warping is concerned here. But I did find one warp that did the trick. Ah yes, you remember the opening. Well, this is what happens when you warp off screen in a side-scrolling area, apparently. Pure nonsense. Well, wandering around this surreal area, I managed to get a key from level 3, which as it turns out, counts as a key obtained from level 5, since that's where I started. Now that I can unlock this door, I can explore the rest of the level and find that no item is effective against the skeleton except the sword. Cool! Well, since he dropped the hookshot, that's one item I'm definitely not getting. So I warp right to the instrument room and get the marimba. Heading over to the face shrine key place, I defeat the Armos Knight. That's a beaver? Or a bear? Anyway, he's very weak to arrows. I grab the key and, well, I don't think I can go to the shrine the normal way. So I warp there and... oh geez. Well, that's not right. Then I go ahead and warp my way through the normal tunnel, which is pretty easy to warp across. I already have the item for this dungeon, of course, and getting to the boss room is an easy warp from right here. The anglerfish was pretty easy, but this one is easier. Aside from the initial tile throwing, it can't hurt you if you stand in the middle of the room on its face. Your own bombs don't hurt you either. Either way, no sword required. I grabbed the triangle, no problem. Heading to level 7, it's a good thing the flying rooster wasn't required to get the key, because you can't get the frog song without the hookshot. Ah! It's Super Anti-Kirby! The mini-boss is a bit tricky without the sword, but doable. Yes. Hey look, it's the room you can't normally see in-game. Isn't it magical? Anyway, I skip over the boss and manage to make my way over to the organ. I stop off at the village and... Marin's still not there by the statue. Well, nuts. Next up, I go to level 2 and find a rather interesting glitch that lets you get infinite keys, resulting in some graphical bugs when the number of keys goes beyond 9. Mostly it just displays as fragments of the dungeon map sprites. No problems with the boss, as the bottle can be stunned and the genie can be killed with a magic rod. I grab level 2's instrument, just have level 1 and 8s to go. Tackling level 1's first, well, the boss can only be damaged with the sword, it seems, and you can't warp right past the boss straight on. After much trial and error, I managed to just barely squeeze in there from the side, and somehow managed to jump out of this candle. Wandering around collecting secret seashells, I'm going around these caves and, Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, here's a tip if you're gonna try this out yourself. Don't go there. So I redo most of the game again. I do manage to beat level 7's boss this time. It doesn't need a sword either. I think the first time the ball got stuck or something while warping. I don't remember. Ah! Alright, I got 20 seashells. Let's see what happens when you get the level 2 sword when you don't currently have the level 1 sword. You get... nothing! The music changes though. Out of curiosity, I went to the beach to nab the sword to see if I'd get a level 1 sword, or a level 2 sword, or if it'd even be there. Well, it's a shield now. Okie dokie. I currently have a level 2 shield, and picking that turns it into... a level 0 shield. It's an invisible shield. Seems to work the same as a regular shield though. That's weird. Let's see if it can stand up to the fire the level 2 shield can. Nope. Guess it's just an invisible level 1 shield. Let's try to buy a shield with this in our inventory. Nope. I already got a shield. What if I try to get one from the trendy game? Nope. Still level 0. The shield respawns on the beach for some reason. Doesn't do anything when you pick it up though. Alright, let's see how a like likes it. Well, it eats it just fine. Buying a new one from the shop, it's still level 0. Alright, well that was fun. Going back to my backup save and moving on with the Swordless quest. Going to level 8 to get the last instrument, I find a spot I can sneak into the instrument room easy peasy. Well, I never got the Ballad of the Windfish from Marin, so I can't wake the Windfish, and all this instrument getting was completely pointless. I mean, if having fun is pointless, that is. Thankfully, there is a way to get into the Windfish's egg without opening it, and it's fairly easy. Just go down from the entrance of level 8, and down once more, and here you are. This is it. And aside from the sword and hookshot, I'm basically totally equipped. While you can beat the first form just fine, the second guy very much requires a sword. So that's that. I think there's some way to beat the game without a sword. There's probably some way to warp to the end screen area, or force the credits somewhere, somehow. And maybe someday someone will find it. But not today. Hey, did you know you can just pull up these top right corner pieces in the woods? Weird.